here I am after many mishaps. And I'm the first one here. I should do things at the wrong time without announcing them beforehand. Earlier. More often. Whichever one it was I wanted to say. Gosh, there's so much of this here. It's not the only thing that makes it look really fake, but it is, I think, the main thing. Hello, first person. I was here first, so just saying. Hello. How are you? I have been tired today and playing Dead Rising, so I lost track of time for VILLETTE. Thank you. At some point, I should probably get a better camera, but I don't want to because this one is very kind to certain imperfections. On no account must anyone see my real face. Okay. So last time I had to put a wig on because when I was getting ready to do VILLETTE, everything was happening. Like every time I moved, something would fall down or go wrong or something. Oh, you went swimming. Nice. Very nice. Sounds like fun. Might have a bath tonight. I haven't had a bath in a very long time. I've bathed. I just haven't had a bath. Soaked in the hot pool. Oh, that sounds so nice. So nice. And is John there too? How you doing, John? Sorry about it being so late today. It sounds pretty good. It sounds amazing. So this is Sunday, and tomorrow should be when I find out if my thyroid's a piece of shit. So pretty exciting. Pretty exciting day. Okay, well that's all right. Dr. Charlotta is here. Although, wait, who am I when I do these? I guess I'm just the narrator. Yeah. On Tingle Mingle Nights, I should probably have an alias. Yeah, I think here I'm just the narrator. But Dr. Charlotta can abort that sadness with a bunch of stupid nonsense and a little bit of Charlotte Bronte. So we got three people. That's about it, probably, because everyone and Di are out to dinner. So, dramatic hair toss is all part of it. Yesterday we read about the fete, which is a party that Madame Beck throws for herself. Or she makes the other teachers throw the party for her because she's got fake modesty. Lucy got roped into a play where she had to play a man, but she refused to put on men's clothes. Being Lucy, she'd already memorized all the parts, I think. So Monsieur Paul, the guy who's really mean to her and looks like shit, he kind of made her do the play. So she put on like a jacket and a vest over her dress, and she was like, I'm not going further than that. I'm a man now. Just leave it. This is the best you get. So she goes on stage, and something very gay happens, and it's very interesting. Lucy and Ginevra are playing would-be lovers in a love triangle with a third person, another guy, but he's barely in it. Like, he's supposed to be the one who gets the girl, but Lucy and Ginevra just kind of get swept up in their characters, and they do that thing where like a TV show will miscast two actors so that all the fans are like, oh, that's the romance we want. That pretty much happens on stage to them. Yeah, she flirted with Ginevra so hard it changed the play. And Ginevra flirted back. Like Lucy's always such a wet blanket, but Ginevra always still wants to stay friends with her and chatting with her and all this. So yeah, she's into it too. The saddest part of this sad, funny, sad book is that it doesn't have a gay edit. I don't know if this is a spoiler. A book written in the first half of the 19th century does not have two women ending up together in a legit lesbian relationship, but that is not what happens currently. But yeah. So this was it's the gayest part I remember. There may be gayer parts, we don't know. And then my voice got really tired, and I got tired, and we didn't actually finish the chapter. So, where did we get up to? Right, after the play. Yeah. She doesn't really seem to have an attachment to any actual man. She's just like, I like tons of men to just write me love letters and give me shit, and I guess I'll marry one at some point, so, you know, I can have money. It's a woman's job, is to marry a dude. And Lucy's always complaining about how, oh, nobody ever looks at her, but actually she doesn't care. But actually, underneath that, actually, she actually doesn't care. Oh, good insight, John. That's why she's so mean about other women. She's going, out, gay thoughts, out! Get thee behind me, lesbian Satan. It's all this Catholicism. That's what causes it. Catholicism, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. Lucy is very, very mean to other women, though. Okay, so the play is over now. We're still in the chapter The Fete, which is chapter 13. 14. I wasn't too far off. And now they're having a ball, because that's what people used to do. They didn't have prestige television. So, Lucy, as usual, withdrawing to a quiet nook, whence unobserved I could observe, the ball, its splendours, and its pleasures passed before me as a spectacle. What glasses have to do with it? I've got no idea. Yeah, I think Ginevra's going to do better in the world of fake heterosexuality, because she's just got a more, like, this is how our society's set up. Maybe Ginevra knows she likes girls, maybe she doesn't, but she knows it's her job to marry a dude who's got some money. And why would she have to like him? Crazy. Again, Ginevra Fanshawe was the belle, the fairest and the gayest present. She was selected to open the ball. Very lovely she looked, very gracefully she danced, very joyously she smiled. Such scenes were her triumphs. She was the child of pleasure. Work or suffering found her listless and dejected, powerless and repining. But gaiety expanded her butterfly's wings, lit up their gold dust and bright spots, made her flash like a gem and flush like a flower. At all ordinary diet and plain beverage she would pout, but she fed on creams and ices like a hummingbird on honey paste. Sweet wine was her element, and sweet cake her daily bread. Ginevra lived her full life in a ballroom. Elsewhere she drooped dispirited. I mean, it's a lovely thing, but she's like, can't believe she doesn't enjoy suffering as much as she enjoys dancing. Sad that she's going to hell, but Catholics. Think not, reader, that she thus bloomed and sparkled for the mere sake of Monsieur Paul, her partner, or that she lavished her best graces that night for the edification of her companions only, or for that of the parents and grandparents, who filled the carré and lined the ballroom, under circumstances so insipid and limited, with motives so chilly and vapid. Ginevra would scarce have deigned to walk one quadrille, and weariness and fretfulness would have replaced animation and good humour. But she knew of a leaven in the otherwise heavy festal mass which lightened the whole. She tasted a condiment which gave it zest. She perceived reasons justifying the display of her choicest attractions. I mean, yeah, it's pretty boring at any social thing where you kind of look around and you're like, I don't really want to have sex with anyone here. Well, what are you going to do? Enjoy each other's company as friends? Ginevra's not about that. In the ballroom, indeed, not a single male spectator was to be seen who was not married and a father, Monsieur Paul excepted. That gentleman, too, being the sole creature of his sex permitted to lead out a pupil to the dance. And this exceptional part was allowed him, partly as a matter of old established custom, for he was a kinsman of Madame Beck's, and high in her confidence, partly because he would always have his own way and do as he pleased, and partly because, wilful, passionate, partial as he might be, he was the soul of honour, and might be trusted with a regiment of the fairest and purest, in perfect security that under his leadership they would come to no harm. The bar is so low. Many of the girls, it may be noted in parentheses, were not pure-minded at all, very much otherwise. But they no more dare betray their natural coarseness in Monsieur Paul's presence than they dare tread purposely on his corns, laugh in his face during a stormy apostrophe, or speak above their breath while some crisis of irritability was covering his human visage with the mask of an intelligent tiger. Monsieur Paul, then, might dance with whom he would, and woe be to the interference which put him out of step. Covers his face with the visage of an intelligent tiger. That's what he looks like when he gets mad. It's just lovely. I just really like it. No humorous comments there. Others there were admitted as spectators, with seeming reluctance, through prayers, by influence, under restriction, by special and difficult exercise of Madame Beck's gracious good nature, and whom she all the evening, with her own personal surveillance, kept far aloof at the remotest, drearest, coldest, darkest side of the carré, a small forlorn band of jeunes gens, these being all of the best families, grown-up sons of mothers present, and whose sisters were pupils in the school. That whole evening was Madame on duty beside these jeunes gens, attentive to them as a mother, but strict with them as a dragon. Oh, sorry, jeunes gens means just young guys. There was a sort of cordon sketched before them, which they wearied her with prayers to be permitted to pass, and just to revive themselves by one dance with that belle blonde, or that jolie brune, or cette jeune fille magnifique aux cheveux noirs comme le jais. The beautiful blonde, or the pretty brunette, or that magnificent young girl with the hair that's black as jade, or whatever. Black is something very dark. Don't know the word. Taisez-vous, Madame would reply heroically and inexorably. Vous ne passerez pas à moins que ce ne soit sur mon cadavre. Et vous ne danserez qu'avec la nonnette du jardin. Blablabla. Vous ne danserez qu'avec la nonnette du jardin, alluding to the legend. You've got to warm your mouth up to speak French. She would say, shut up. Well, not shut up, but shut up. You'll go over my dead body. And you won't dance with anyone but the nun from the garden, alluding to the legend of the ghost nun in the garden. And she majestically walked to and fro along the disconsolate and impatient line, like a little Bonaparte in a mouse-coloured silk gown. That's where we got up to last time. So now we're completely caught up and we've got a little bit, reread. Madame knew something of the world. Madame knew much of human nature. I don't think that another directress in Villette would have dared to admit a jeune homme within her walls. A young man. But Madame knew that by granting such an admission, on an occasion like the present, a bold stroke might be struck and a great point gained. Yes, my love. Florabelle. Look in all the bowls first. Idiot cat. In the first place, the parents were made accomplices to the deed, for it was only through their mediation it was brought about. Secondly, the admission of these rattlesnakes, so fascinating and so dangerous, served to draw out Madame precisely in her strongest character, that of a first-rate surveillante, or surveillant. Thirdly, their presence furnished a most piquant ingredient to the entertainment. The pupils knew it and saw it, and the view of such golden apples shining afar off animated them with a spirit no other circumstance could have kindled. The children's pleasure spread to the parents. Life and mirth circulated quickly round the ballroom. The jeunes gens themselves, though restrained, were amused, for Madame never permitted them to feel dull. And thus Madame Beck's fete annually ensured a success unknown to the fete of any other directress in the land. She's renting a party clown to make sure that the kids have a good time, but the party clown is just a bunch of teenage boys who are not allowed out of this little restricted area. Genius. I observed that Dr. John was at first permitted to walk at large through the classes. There was about him a manly, responsible look that redeemed his youth and half expiated his beauty. But as soon as the ball began, Madame ran up to him. "Come, Wolf, come," said she, laughing. "You wear sheep's clothing, but you must quit the fold notwithstanding. Come, I have a fine menagerie of 20 here in the carré. Let me place you amongst my collection. But first suffer me to have one dance with one pupil of my choice." "Have you the face to ask such a thing? It is madness, it is impiety. Sautez, sautez, et au plus vite. Go, go. Quicker, faster, go away." She drove him before her and soon had him enclosed within the cordon. Ginevra, being, I suppose, tired with dancing, sought me out in my retreat. She threw herself on the bench beside me and, a demonstration I could very well have dispensed with, cast her arms round my neck. "That's right, Lucy, we believe you. You didn't like it. Naibe, do you need to go outside?" No, I think it was just Fitz. He's okay. "Lucy Snow, Lucy Snow," she cried in a somewhat sobbing voice, half hysterical. "What in the world is the matter?" I dryly said. How do I look? How do I look tonight?" she demanded. "As usual," said I. "Preposterously vain." "Nag. Caustic creature, you never have a kind word for me. But in spite of you and all other envious detractors, I know that I am beautiful. I feel it, I see it, for there is a great looking-glass in the dressing room, where I can view my shape from head to foot. Will you go with me now, and let us two stand before it? She wants to go stand in front of the mirror with you, Lucy. I will, Miss Fanshawe. You shall be humoured even to the top of your bent. She's up for anything. The dressing room was very near, and we stepped in. Putting her arm through mine, she drew me to the mirror. There's a lot of just casual touching, and it always originates with Ginevra, and Lucy's always like, well, I didn't like it, but I didn't say anything or tell her not to do it again or, anything. I just want you to know that I didn't start that. Without resistance, remonstrance, or remark, I stood and let her self-love have its feast and triumph, curious to see how much it could swallow, whether it was possible it could feed to satiety, whether any whisper of consideration for others could penetrate her heart and moderate its vainglorious exaltation. Not at all. She turned me and herself round. She viewed us both on all sides. She smiled, she waved her curls, she retouched her sash, she spread her dress, and finally, letting go my arm and curtsying with mock respect, she said, I would not be you for a kingdom. Even stronger neg. The remark was too naive to rouse anger. I merely said, very good. And what would you give to be me? She inquired. Not a bad sixpence. Strange as it may sound, I replied. You are but a poor creature. You don't think so in your heart. No, for in my heart you have not even the outline of a place. I only occasionally turn you over in my brain. It got gayer. They're having a relationship discussion, and they're negging each other so hard. Well, but, said she in an expostulatory tone, just listen to the difference of our opinions, and then see how happy am I, and how miserable are you. Go on, I listen. In the first place, I am the daughter of a gentleman of family, and though my father is not rich, I have expectations from an uncle. Then I am just 18, the finest age possible. I have had a continental education, and though I can't spell, I have abundant accomplishments. I am pretty. You can't deny that. I may have as many admirers as I choose. This very night I have been breaking the hearts of 2 gentlemen, and it is the dying look I had from one of them just now which puts me in such spirits. I do so like to watch them turn red and pale and scowl and dart fiery glances at each other and languishing ones at me. There is me. Happy me. Now for you, poor soul. Super neg. I suppose you are nobody's daughter, since you took care of little children when you first came to Villette. You have no relations. You can't call yourself young at 23. You have no attractive accomplishments. No beauty. As to admirers, you hardly know what they are. You can't even talk on the subject. You sit dumb when the other teachers quote their conquests. I believe you never were in love, and never will be. You don't know the feeling. And so much the better, for though you might have your own heart broken, no living heart will you ever break. Isn't it all true? We are getting vicious here. Cats are attracted to bitchery. Going out? Oh, that was Fitzy. Oh, I thought you were Noby. The gloves are coming off. Isn't it all true? Said Ginevra. cuntishly. A good deal of it is true as gospel, and shrewd besides. There must be good in you, Ginevra, to speak so honestly. That snake, Zélie St. Pierre, could not utter what you have uttered. Still, Miss Fanshawe, hapless as I am, according to your showing, sixpence I would not give to purchase you, body and soul. Just because I am not clever, and that is all you think of. Nobody in the world but you cares for cleverness. On the contrary, I consider you are clever in your way. Very smart indeed. But you were talking of breaking hearts, that edifying amusement, into the merits of which I don't quite enter. Pray, on whom does your vanity lead you to think that you have done execution tonight? She approached her lips to my ear. Isidore and Alfred de Amal are both here, she whispered. Oh, they are. I should like to see them. There's a dear creature. Your curiosity is roused at last. Follow me, I will point them out. I would love to read some academic analysis of the scene in front of the mirror. I mean, that was intense and something was happening, but I don't have the words for it. But it was super gay. She proudly led the way. But you cannot see them well from the classes, said she, turning. Madame keeps them too far off. Let us cross a garden, enter by the corridor, and then get close to them behind. We shall be scolded if we are seen, but never mind. For once, I did not mind. Through the garden we went, penetrated into the corridor by a quiet private entrance, and approaching the carré, yet keeping in the corridor shade, commanded a near view of the band of jeunes gens. I believe I could have picked out the conquering de Amal, even undirected. He was a straight-nosed, very correct-featured little dandy. I say little dandy, though he was not beneath the middle standard in stature. But his lineaments were small, and so were his hands and feet. He was pretty and smooth, and as trim as a doll. So nicely dressed, so nicely curled, so booted and gloved and cravatted. He was charming indeed. You guys know who I'm thinking about. A man who looks like a little dolly. I said so. What a dear personage, cried I, and commended Ginevra's taste warmly, and asked her what she thought de Amal might have done with the precious fragments of that heart she had broken, whether he kept them in a scent vial, and conserved them in otto of roses. I observed, too, with a deep rapture of approbation, that the Colonel's hands were scarce larger than Miss Fanshawe's own, and suggested that this circumstance might be convenient, as he could wear her gloves at a pinch. On his dear curls I told her I doted, and as to his low Grecian brow, an exquisite classic headpiece, I confessed I had no language to do such perfections justice. Now she's negging her boyfriend. And if he were your lover? Suggested the cruelly exultant Ginevra. Oh, heavens! What bliss! Said I. But do not be inhuman, Miss Fanshawe. To put such thoughts into my head is like showing poor outcast Cain a far glimpse of paradise. You like him, then? As I like sweets, and jams, and comfits, and conservatory flowers. Ginevra admired my taste, for all these things were her adoration. She could then readily credit that they were mine too. They're being so mean to each other. I love it. Now for Isidore, I went on. I own I felt still more curious to see him than his rival, but Ginevra was absorbed in the latter. Alfred was admitted here last night, said she, through the influence of his aunt, Madame la Baronne de Dordelot. Madame the Baroness of Dordelot. And now, having seen him, can you not understand why I have been in such spirits all the evening, and acted so well, and danced with such life, and why I am now happy as a queen? Dieu, Dieu, it was such good fun to glance first at him and then the other and madden them both. And by Dieu, she of course means God. The big man, that huge chap. But that other, where is he? Show me Isidore. I don't like to. Why not? I'm ashamed of him. For what reason? Because, in a whisper, he has such whiskers, orange and red. There now. He's got an orange beard. Nothing wrong with it. Ginevra, you shallow bitch. The murder is out, I subjoined. Never mind, show him all the same. I engage not to faint. She looked around. Just then an English voice spoke behind her and me. You are both standing in a draught. You must leave this corridor. There is no draught, Dr. John, said I, turning. She takes cold so easily, he pursued, looking at Ginevra with extreme kindness. She is delicate. She must be cared for. Fetch her a shawl. I'm going to try and not make the voice really stupid for Dr. John, but permit me to judge for myself, said Miss Fanshawe with hauteur. I don't know how to say it in English. I want no shawl. Your dress is thin. You have been dancing. You are heated. Always preaching, retorted she. Always coddling and admonishing. The answer Dr. John would have given did not come. That his heart was hurt became evident in his eye. Darkened and saddened and pained, he drew a little aside, but was patient. I knew where there were plenty of shawls near her hand. I ran and fetched one. She shall wear this if I have the strength to make her, said I, folding it well round her muslin dress, covering carefully her neck and her arms. Is that Isidore? I asked in a somewhat fierce whisper. She pushed up her lips, smiled, and nodded. Is that Isidore? I repeated, giving her a shake. I could have given her a dozen. C'est lui-même, said she. Yes, it's him. It's himself. Of course he is, compared with the Colonel Count. And then, oh, yeah, the whiskers. Oh, heavens, the whiskers. Oh, terrible. Dr. John now passed on. The Colonel Count, I echoed. The doll, the puppet, the mannequin, the poor inferior creature. A mere lackey for Dr. John, his valet, his footboy. Is it possible that fine, generous gentleman, handsome as a vision, offers you his honourable hand and gallant heart, and promises to protect your flimsy person and wretchless mind through the storms and struggles of life, and you hang back, you scorn, you sting, you torture him? Have you power to do this? Who gave you that power? Where is it? Does it lie all in your beauty, your pink and white complexion, and your yellow hair? Does this bind his soul at your feet, and bend his neck under your yoke? Does this purchase for you his affection, his tenderness, his thoughts, his hopes, his interest, his noble, cordial love? And will you not have it? Do you scorn it? You are only dissembling. You are not in earnest. You love him. You long for him, but you trifle with his heart to make him more surely yours. How you run on. I don't understand half of what you've said. I had got her out into the garden near this. I now set her down on a seat and told her she should not stir until she had avowed what she meant in the end to accept, the man or the monkey. Him you call the man, said she, is bourgeois, sandy-haired, and answers to the name of John. Cela suffit? Je n'en veux pas. I don't know why. I'm sorry, John. I know you're listening, and I don't know why Ginevra objects to a man named John. But she was like, that's enough. I don't want him. Cela suffit. That's what it means. Colonel de Amal is a gentleman of excellent connections, perfect manners, sweet appearance, with pale, interesting face, and hair and eyes like an Italian. Then, too, he is the most delightful company possible, a man quite in my way, not sensible and serious like the other, but one with whom I can talk on equal terms, who does not plague and bore and harass me with depths and heights and passions and talents for which I have no taste. There now, don't hold me so fast. I slackened my grasp, and she darted off. I did not care to pursue her. I mean, that's a pretty good answer. She's like, why don't you like Dr. John? He's so great. She's like, yeah, but I'm a dummy. I want to marry another dummy. And having the same glove size is actually really cool, because I can steal his gloves. You won't know because he's such a dummy. It's a good explanation, that's all I'm saying. Uh-oh. That's a tinted lip balm. That's just too much. Would you date a woman named John? I don't know if there are any. The guy's a doctor too. But oh no. She wants to be a Countess Shapiro. Somehow I could not avoid returning once more in the direction of the corridor to get another glimpse of Dr. John. But I met him on the garden steps, standing where the light from a window fell broad. His well-proportioned figure, ooh, was not to be mistaken, for I doubt whether there was another in that assemblage his equal. He carried his hat in his hand. His uncovered head, his face, and fine brow were most handsome and manly. His features were not delicate, not slight like those of a woman, nor were they cold, frivolous, and feeble. Though well cut, they were not so chiselled, so frittered away, as to lose in power and significance what they gained in unmeaning symmetry. Much feeling spoke in them at times, and more sat silent in his eye. I wanted him to take his breeches off, and I would have paid him at least 20 guineas to do so. Such, at least, were my thoughts of him. To me he seemed all this. An inexpressible sense of wonder occupied me as I looked at this man, and reflected that he could be slighted. Okay, firstly, I did insert maybe one sentence into that Charlotte Bronte forgot to put in. And for seconds, no matter how hot somebody is, someone's turned them down. It's always a nice thing to remember. It was not my intention to approach or address him in the garden, our terms of acquaintance not warranting such a step. I had only meant to view him in the crowd, myself unseen. Coming upon him thus alone, I withdrew. But he was looking out for me, or rather for her who had been with me. Therefore he descended the steps and followed me down the alley. You know Miss Fanshawe. I have often wished to ask whether you knew her, said he. Yes, I know her. Intimately? Quite as intimately as I wish. I don't think that's true, Lucy. What have you done with her now? Am I her keeper? I felt inclined to ask, but I simply answered, I have shaken her well, and would have shaken her better, but she escaped out of my hands and ran away. Would you favour me, he asked, by watching over her this one evening, and observing that she does nothing imprudent? Does not, for instance, run out into the night air immediately after dancing? I may perhaps look after her a little, since you wish it, but she likes her own way too well to submit readily to control. She is so young, so thoroughly artless, said he, grossly. To me she is an enigma, I responded. Is she? He asked, much interested. How? It would be difficult to say how. Difficult at least to tell you how. And why me? I wonder that she is not better pleased that you are so much her friend. But she has not the slightest idea how much I am her friend. That is precisely the point I cannot teach her. May I inquire, did she ever speak of me to you? Under the name of Isidore, she has talked about you often. But I must add that it is only within the last 10 minutes I have discovered that you and Isidore are identical. It is only, Dr. John, within that brief space of time I have learned that Ginevra Fanshawe is the person under this roof in whom you have long been interested, that she is the magnet which attracts you to the roof or set, that for her sake you venture into this garden and seek out caskets dropped by rivals. You know all? I know so much. For more than a year I had been accustomed to meet her in society. Mrs. Cholmondeley, her friend, is an acquaintance of mine. Thus I see her every Sunday. But you observe that under the name of Isidore she often spoke of me. May I, without inviting you to a breach of confidence, inquire what was the tone, what the feeling of her remarks? I feel somewhat anxious to know, being a little tormented with uncertainty as to how I stand with her. Hold up. You've been hanging out with her socially for a year? When she was 17. Oh, Dr. John. Come on. Come on, fella. Oh, she varies. She shifts and changes like the wind. Still, you can gather some general idea. I can, thought I, but it would not do to communicate that general idea to you. Besides, if I said she did not love you, I know you would not believe me. You are silent, he pursued. I suppose you have no good news to impart. No matter. If she feels for me positive coldness and aversion, it is a sign I do not deserve her. Do you doubt yourself? Do you consider yourself the inferior of Colonel d'Aumale? I love Miss Fanshawe far more than d'Aumale loves any human being. I would care for and guard her better than he. Respecting d'Aumale, I fear she is under an illusion. The man's character is known to me, all his antecedents, all his scrapes. He is not worthy of your beautiful young friend. My beautiful young friend ought to know that, and to know or feel who is worthy of her, said I. If her beauty or her brains will not serve her so far, she merits the sharp lesson of experience. Are you not a little severe? I am excessively severe, more severe than I choose to show you. You should hear the strictures with which I favour my beautiful young friend, only that you would be unutterably shocked at my want of tender considerateness for her delicate nature. She is so lovely. One cannot but be loving towards her. You, and every woman older than herself, must feel for such a simple, innocent, girlish fairy a sort of motherly or elder sisterly fondness. Graceful angel, does not your heart yearn towards her when she pours into your ear her pure, childlike confidences? How you are privileged! And he sighed. Good Lord, what a dummy! I cut short these confidences somewhat abruptly now and then, said I. But excuse me, Dr. John, may I change the theme for 1 second? What a godlike person is that d'Aumale! What a nose on his face! Perfect. Yeah, me too, Lucy. I prefer a man's nose to be on his face. It's just a preference. Don't read into it. Nose on his face is perfect. Model one in putty or clay. You could not make a better or a straighter or neater. And then such classic lips and chin. And his bearing. Sublime. d'Aumale is an unutterable puppy, besides being a very white-livered hero. You, Dr. John, and every man of a less refined mould than he, must feel for him a sort of admiring affection, such as Mars and the coarser deities may have supposed to have borne the young graceful Apollo. This is really good, actually. Oh, get him, Lucy. An unprincipled, gambling little jackanapes, said Dr. John curtly, whom with one hand I could lift up by the waistband any day and lay low in the kennel if I liked. The sweet seraph, said I. What a cruel idea. Are you not a little severe, Dr. John? Okay, take away the tone right at the end there. I'm sure Lucy wouldn't have used it, but she definitely felt it. And now I paused. For the second time that night, I was going beyond myself, venturing out of what I looked on as my natural habits, speaking in an unpremeditated, impulsive strain, which startled me strangely when I halted to reflect. On rising that morning, had I anticipated that before night I should have acted the part of a gay lover in a vaudeville, and an hour after frankly discussed with Dr. John the question of his hapless suit, and rallied him on his illusions. I had no more presaged such feats than I had looked forward to an ascent in a balloon, or a voyage to Cape Horn. Cape Horn? Is that... It's not just a really horny island, is it? Doesn't matter. The doctor and I, having paced down the walk, were now returning. The reflex from the window again lit his face. He smiled, but his eye was melancholy. How I wished that he could feel heart's ease. How I grieved that he brooded over pain, and pain from such a cause. He, with his great advantages, he, to love in vain. I did not then know that the pensiveness of reverse is the best phase for some minds, nor did I reflect that some herbs, though scentless when entire, yield fragrance when they're bruised. Do not be sorrowful. Do not grieve, I broke out. If there is in Ginevra one spark of worthiness of your affection, she must feel devotion in return. Be cheerful, be hopeful, Dr. John. Who should hope, if not you? In return for this speech, I got, what it must be supposed I deserved, a look of some surprise. I thought also of some disapprobation. We parted, and I went into the house very chill. The clock struck, and the bells told midnight. People were leaving fast. The fete was over, the lamps were fading. In another hour, all the dwelling house and all the pensionnat were dark and hushed. I too was in bed, but not asleep. To me, it was not easy to sleep after a day of such excitement. And that's the end of that chapter, which took us, apart from the usual 10-minute fucking about, another 38 minutes. So I'm really, really glad. Cape Horn is South America, or the furthest place to sail. That's a cool thing to know, but it's going to go in my head and out again. So that's just what my brain's like today. Yes, so thank you everybody for being here. For making it worth me knocking all the shit on the ground and setting up and all that. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for more of whatever it is I do. Be good to each other, be kind, wash your hands, and give somebody $1. Doesn't matter who. Well, it obviously not like Nazis, but you know. Okay, bye everyone. I'm a doctor. Don't vex me. See yous.